Hi everyone, it's Ian here from Crack Maths and welcome to tutorial 51 on how to calculate the surface area of a cuboid. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, the surface area of a cuboid refers to the area of all the shapes that we put together to make the cuboid. So if you were making it out of paper and you were folding it up, like if you're making a cardboard box, say, the surface area is going to be the area of each one of the rectangles that has been placed together to make the cuboid. Okay, but let's actually just look at this with an example. So let's say that I've got a cuboid here that I've drawn with dimensions height 3, width 4, and depth 8. Okay, what we can see is that this cuboid is really comprised of 3 different types of rectangle. So I'm going to just draw 3 rectangles here because I want to label these as we go. But they're not going to be accurate because I'm just using them for my judgment. So I'm just going to draw 3 rectangles here to put my measurements on. Okay, so if we look at this cuboid, we have got the front face, which I can see is 3 by 4. So if we look at that front face, 3 by 4, we can also see that the back face will be the same size. Okay, so therefore we've got 2 of this 3 by 4. Now, if I wanted to work out the area of this rectangle, I would do 3 times 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. So I'm going to write 12 centimeters squared in this first rectangle. Right, the second rectangle, I'm going to label this one 3 by 8. Okay, this is the rectangle on the side, but it's also the rectangle on the opposite side as well. So you can see here, I'll highlight them for you. Now these rectangles are 3 by 8, so the area of these rectangles is going to be 3 times 8 centimeters squared. Okay. Now lastly, we've got 2 dimensions that haven't been paired up yet, and they are this 4 by 8, which cover the rectangles for the top and the bottom of the cuboid. So to find the area of them, we do 4 times 8. So 4 times 8 is 32. And so we've got that on the top and bottom, but I'm going to label that inside my rough cuboid. So here we go. This is 32 centimeters squared. Right. Now we've got all 3 of these, okay, we can see that we're going to have all of them twice. So basically, I can add together 12 add 12, add 24 add 24, add 32 add 32. Okay, I'm going to use my calculator for that. And that equals 136 centimeters squared. So the total surface area for this cuboid would be 136 centimeters squared. Okay, and that's that for that, actually. So let's get started on some examples. Okay, so here we have question 1. And question 1 says a cuboid has a length 6 centimeters, a width 4 centimeters, and a height 5 centimeters. What is the total surface area? Okay, so remember, it's a cuboid, so it's been made of 3 types of rectangle, and the dimensions of these rectangles have been given to us. So first of all, we're going to have one rectangle, which is going to be 4 by 6. Then we're going to have a rectangle that's going to be 6 by 5. And then we're going to have a rectangle that's going to be 5 by 4. Okay, remember, we have each of these rectangles twice because they're all on the opposite side of each other as well. So let's work out these areas. So remember, area of a rectangle is length times width, or one side times the other side. Okay, so first of all, we've got 4 times 6, which is 24. Then we have 5 times 6, which is 30. And then we have 4 times 5, which is 20. Now remember, we have all of these twice. So when we calculate the surface area, we've got to add all of these together twice. Okay, so let's work that out. We're going to have 24 add 24, add 30 add 30, add 20 add 20. Okay, so that equals 148 square centimeters, or 148 centimeters squared. They both mean the same thing. Okay, let's have a look at another question. So here we go, we've got question 2. And question 2 says the dimensions of the cuboid are 8 meters, 6 meters, and 10 meters. Calculate the total surface area in square meters. Right, okay. I'm going to leave you to quickly think about the 3 rectangles that we're going to have that are going to make up this shape and see if you can work that out. Okay, Hopefully, what you found is you had a rectangle with dimensions 8 by 6. We had a rectangle with dimensions 8 by 10. And we've got a rectangle with dimensions 6 by 10. Now we've got those, we can work out their areas. So 8 times 10 is 80 metres squared. 8 times 6 is 48 metres squared. And 6 times 10 is 60 metres squared. So we can do 48 add 48, 80 add 80, and 60 add 60. So that gives us 376 metres squared. Right, okay. This next question, what we've got, question 3, says find the total surface area of a cuboid with length 3.5 metres, width 1 metre, and height 50 centimetres. Ooh, okay, right. This has got a little bit interesting because they've tried to be tricky with this one. So we can get started just as we will, but the thing that we need to notice here is they've given us mixed units. So they've given us 50 centimetres and then they've given us 1 metre and 3.5 metres. So what we need to do is we need to decide if we're going to change all the units to centimetres or change all the units to metres. Okay? I'm going to be inclined with this question to change the units to metres because if we convert it all to centimetres, we're going to get such a large number, it's going to be a little bit unmanageable. So 2 of the units are in metres already, and 1 of the units is in centimetres, so I think that's going to be easier. So remember, if we know that 1 metre is 100 centimetres, or we could say 100 centimetres is 1 metre, if we divide that by 2, we can see that 50 centimetres is 0.5 metres. So I'm going to replace this 50 centimetres with a 0.5. Right, so now let's do the 3 rectangles. So I've got my first rectangle, that's 0.5 by 1. I've got my second rectangle, which is 0.5 by 3.5. And then I've got my third rectangle, which is 1 by 3.5. So let's work out these areas. 0.5 times 1 is 0.5. 0.5 times 3.5 is 1.75. And then 1 times 3.5 is 3.5. Okay, right. So now what we can do is we can add all those together. So remember, we've got 2 of each side. So we've got 0.5, add 0.5, add 1.75, add 1.75, add 3.5, add 3.5. And that equals 11.5 metres squared. Okay, perfect. If you want to have more practice at these style of questions, head over to Crack Maths now. It's tutorial 51. If you would rather move on to the scenario questions so you can see how it gets a bit more interesting again, stick with us now and that's what we're going to do. Right, this is an interesting question. Okay, so let's first of all have a read of this question to see what it says, and then we can think about how we're going to tackle it. A manufacturer is designing a container for vegetables. The container needs to have a surface area of 500 square inches to maximise production. If the length and width are both 10 inches, what should be the container's height? Wow! Okay, so this question is very different to what we've been doing. But it's important that we're having a look at it. And it's nothing to be scared of because we can pick it all apart. So here we go. We've got our cuboid and we know that its length and width are 10 and we don't know the height. Okay, so that's fine. I'm just going to put a H there just to hold that place. So now let's think about this shape. So we've got 3 rectangles. We know that. That's going to happen. That's going to be the case. We're going to have 3 rectangles. We've got rectangle 1, which I'm going to say is the 10 by 10. And then we've got 2 more rectangles, which are both going to be height times 10. Okay, so we've got height times 10 here, and we've got height times 10 here. Right. So we know then we can work out the area of the first rectangle. So the first rectangle, I mean it's a square, is going to be 100 square inches. Okay, 10 times 10 is 100. Okay, so that first rectangle is 100 square inches. But remember, there's two of them. Okay, so actually, that side there, the 10 by 10 sides, are going to take up 200 square inches, which means that the other two rectangles, well, the other four rectangles really, are going to take up 300 square inches. Now, if we know that the four rectangles are going to take 300 square inches, that means that two rectangles are going to take up 150 square inches, which means that one rectangle is going to take up 75 square inches. Okay, right. Well, this is useful because we know that the area of these rectangles has to be 75 square inches. Now, let's think. If we know the area of a rectangle is length times width, or dimension times dimension, and we know here that we've got the height times 10 equals the area, so we know that height times 10 equals 75, we're going to have to use our reverse calculation here to calculate the height. So remember, if we've got two numbers that multiply together to give a product, the product divided by one of the other numbers gives the other number. Remember the example of 3 times 4 equals 12. 12 divided by 3 equals 4. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. Okay, so we've got height times 10 equals 75. So therefore, 75 divided by 10 is going to give us the height. So 75 divided by 10 equals 7.5. Okay, so there we go. So the height of this container would have to be 7.5 inches. Okay, great. Perfect. Okay, well, that's that. If you want more examples of these, head over to Crack Maths and look at the scenario questions. And I will see you in another tutorial. That's tutorial 51. Okay, goodbye.